So today's video is sponsored by the company Minimal Case. Now, I've always been curious to why people go out and buy the latest, greatest, sleek looking design phones only to cover them up with those huge, bulky cases. So that's where the company Minimal Case comes in. Now, they offer cases for the newest phones while keeping the phone looking the way it was intended to look. Now, my personal favorite is the transparent case, which basically looks like you don't have a case at all, and that's the one that I have on my Pixel 4 XL. But they also offer colors in frosted white, frosted black, and matte black. So there's no flashy colors. They try to keep it simple, which is the overall idea behind their cases. Now, if you go to their site and use the code Gamesky, you can save 25% off. I'm also going to put a link in the description that if you use that, it will automatically apply the discount when you go to check out. But I'd like to thank Minimal Case for sponsoring today's video. All right, guys, so this has been an interesting week. Yesterday, we took a look at Apple's brand new AirPods Pro, and today we're going to look at Amazon's new Echo Buds. Now, the Echo Buds retail for $130, but they have some really impressive features considering the price. Now, one of the first things that I do want to point out, to get the most out of these and actually to be able to use them, you really need to download Amazon's Alexa app. And that's because you're able to integrate it with Amazon's system to be able to get those voice controls, but also because some of the features they're including as well. But let's go ahead and talk about some of the specs and the features of these. Now, the first thing that completely surprised me is that the drivers in here are two balanced armature drivers in each earbud, which does a lot to focus on your mids and your highs. So you're going to get a clearer sound than what you would with most dynamic drivers. Now, they also work with Bose to get a noise reduction feature here. So it's not noise canceling, but this noise reduction quality is damn near close to noise canceling. So if you're used to the Sony WF-1000X M3s, it doesn't cancel out noise to that level, but it is really close. Now, they also have a transparency mode, which is where I say the app's important, because you can control how much of your outside surroundings you want to hear, pretty much on a level from 0 to 5. So if you want to bring in a little bit, you can go 1 or 2, or if you just want to hear pretty much a lot of your surroundings, go ahead and bump that up to 5. Now, as far as your Bluetooth, it does have Bluetooth 5.0, and I didn't experience any lag with watching videos, and it also has AAC and SBC Bluetooth playback. So although it's not listed as aptX, you're still getting some of the best Bluetooth audio that you can get. Now, one thing that's really confusing here is the IPX4 rating. Yes, it is water resistant, but it is on the lower end of the spectrum. And so rain, sweat, stuff like that, you're gonna be fine, but any substantial amount of water, you're gonna need to be a little concerned. And I'm starting to wonder if companies are doing this because they don't want to have a higher XP rating and have to really coat the earbuds, which ultimately could affect the microphones. Still, again, IPX4 is pretty low. Now, as far as what you get inside the box, you do get the usual small, medium, and large silicone ear tips, but it also comes with 3 sets of wingtips as well. So if you are somebody that has an issue with earbuds staying in your ear, or if you're going to work out and you're worried about these falling out, those wingtips definitely help. Now, this definitely just makes absolutely no sense. Amazon decided to use micro USB. We're talking about Amazon that has access to basically any accessory or any product possible, and for some reason they choose micro USB, which in 2019 makes absolutely no sense. Now, speaking of the charging cable, battery life on these, you're gonna get around 5 hours individually and then around 20 hours with the case. I definitely think this is on the lower end of the battery spectrum, but if you do pick the earbuds up and they are dead, it does have the fast charge feature where a 15-minute charge will get you around 2 hours of use. Now, speaking of the case, I will say that the case is definitely a little larger than most. Your battery indicator light is a single light that's on the front. And as far as the build quality, I think the case is built very well. Now, moving on to the earbuds share a very similar look to the Samsung Galaxy Buds. These also have touch controls, which control absolutely everything but volume control. Now, you do have to go within the app to be able to change it to what it is you want it to control, but you can control skipping your tracks forward or backwards, your play or pause, summonsing your smart assistant, and then also the ability to switch from noise reduction mode to transparency mode. But there is no volume control, which I am not a huge fan of. Now, the one thing I do like in these is it has the sensors that when you take the earbuds out of your ear, it will pause your music and then it will resume as soon as you put them back in. I really wish this was a feature that was more common in a lot of other truly wireless earbuds. Now, for those of you that like to use your earbuds individually, you will be happy to know that you can use either the left or the right. And when it comes to microphones, they have dual facing outward mics. This is to put a lot of focus on the noise reduction, but also whenever you're talking to your earbuds, it has that beam where it's focusing more in on your vocals, which I think does a very impressive job, but you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. So here is a test of the microphone on the Amazon Echo Buds. I think it does an extremely good job of picking up my vocals and a really nice job of blocking out outside noises. And so speaking of outside noises, this is the microphone with a background crowd noise being played. That way you can get an idea of what it would sound like if you took a call in public. Now, before we get into sound, I do want to say for those of you that are worried about your privacy, you do know that you can go within the app and just turn off the mics altogether so that you don't feel like your earbuds are listening to you all the time. So now let's go ahead and move on to the sound. The sound is where there is a huge surprise. I do want to say that the app is important here again, because if you feel like the earbuds have too much bass or too much treble or not enough of this or whatever, there is also EQ control within the app. But straight out of the box, I'm going to tell you these sound amazing. The bass is punchy, the bass has so much presence to them, but because they have this really nice open sound, it doesn't feel like it's hitting you in the face. It doesn't feel like you're standing in front of speakers and you're losing the rest of the frequency, because treble has a really nice shine to them. It definitely doesn't get to the point of bright, which again, if you want it to be, you can go in the app and get that. But it is really detail oriented. Not only hearing the clarity of instruments, but also being able to tell where the different instruments are coming from is very, very nice in these. Again, I think the fact that they chose to go with dual balanced armature drivers in each earbuds was a nice decision. Now, mids on these straight out of the box, I will say sit exactly where they need to. They're not too forward, but they're definitely not sitting back where the other frequencies are just coming out in front and destroying them either. It has a really nice balance with a boosted bass and a boosted treble. So I will definitely say sound-wise, I was very impressed. Now, when it comes to the cons of these, it's kind of minor, but I will say that using micro USB in 2019, that's not acceptable. The other thing I would have liked to have seen is that the case at least be a wireless charging case so that you don't have to use the micro USB cable. Now, when it comes to the volume of these, I really would have liked to have seen maybe another notch or two in volume. I'm not saying that these are low by any means, but in comparison to some other truly wireless earbuds that I try, I noticed that volume is just a little bit lower. But other than that, these are fantastic. I think the price point is definitely hitting the sweet spot. And with the way that Amazon has a lot of their items go on sale from time to time, I think you'll be able to find these for around $100 pretty often. But even at the $130 price point, I think the Bose noise reduction mixed in with the dual balanced armature drivers, this is a really impressive pair of truly wireless earbuds. But guys, that's my review of the brand new Amazon Echo Buds. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.